Low loads and heavy loads in training, the part 2. In the part 1, I have already spoken about the important fact that there is no difference in the muscle growth if using high loads or lower loads in the muscle training. What is very interesting that also in the body weight of the training groups, no differences were noticed. When the trainees have been measured at the beginning of the research and then after 6 weeks of training, both categories obtained plus 0.6 to 1 kilo in their body weight. But still more interesting is that after these 6 weeks of training, also the 1RM means 1 max rep and the overall strength capacities were generally better in both groups, comparing to the beginning of training. But the research was showing that as for strength, the high loads were obtaining better results. In percentage, it was for the 1 max rep about 2.9% higher, whereby in the heavy loads the result was after 6 weeks plus 5.9%. Muscle CSA is the area of the cross section of a muscle dimension, generally at its largest point. It is used to describe the muscle contraction properties. This CSA was the same in high and lower loads groups after the 6 weeks of the training. This concerned both the triceps and the pectoralis area, measured after the 6 weeks. The scientists were surprised that after 6 weeks of the training, both groups, high loads and lower loads, were obtaining the same muscle size results, weight results, which is contrary to the generally adopted opinion before such a research. Before, generally it was admitted that high loads were considered as the ones manufacturing bigger muscles. There must be pointed out that in order that the lower loads get the same results, the sets and reps must have been done to volitional fatigue. If a training is done to volitional fatigue, practically it is indifferent whether one is training with high or moderate weights. What must be assured, however, is the fact that the muscle fibers should activate it in a maximum way through the lower load resistance training, always up to volitional fatigue. The research was done both for the upper and lower body. The only negative factor for the lower body is that when after a 3 weeks training research of bench press training with 75% of 1RM rep, 18% increase was obtained in the pecs area, was noticed that 10% only concerned the triceps area. However, for the quadriceps, it was still lower. The increase was only 5%. I repeat again that the conclusions also said that the strength was higher at the end of the training process in a high load training group compared to the lower loads training group. However, there was no detailed explanation what's the real reason for it. As a matter of fact, according to my opinion, one must ask himself before going to the gym how he has to organize his training and why. According to my experience, lower loads and high intensity of training is the better solution, as you can train safely for a very long time. High loads are more adapted for people looking just for the strength, but they must know that from time to time they might have injuries, which can stop their training for several weeks or even months, which of course brings their strength back to the starting figures. Not speaking about the fact that the lower load but more intense training brings not only quality muscles but also a higher aerobic capacity. Thanks for listening, and thanks to put attention to my YouTube channel. Thank you.